Good morning. I am Heather Hundhausen, and today we are going to be talking about the 10 buckets for work-life balance. Number 2, how to change your belief system, how you were parented, reparenting with inner child work, and becoming your own loving parent. So, as you may or may not know, good morning. As you may or may not know, I've been doing the 10 work-life balance buckets. And so number 1 is becoming aware of what's going on with your pain in your body and pain in your life and your problems. And number 2 is today's, which is how to change your belief system. So we're going to be looking at belief systems. And I am Heather Hundhausen. You probably know me, but maybe you want to share this video with your friends and they don't know me, so they're going to get to know me. So hi, friends. So today I'm going to be talking about reprogramming your mind and belief systems. So what does it mean to reprogram your mind? So there are a lot of different ways that we can reprogram your mind. The way that I do it is a number of different ways. So I have my master's in mental health and marriage and family therapy, and I've also been a licensed massage therapist for over 20 years. And I've been doing energy work for even more than 20 years. Good morning, Reagan. And so with all of that knowledge and information, I've learned that what's happening in our physical body is usually a result of what's happening emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, not only just physically, which you will see in some of the other work-life balance buckets videos. So we're not going to get into that today. But today we're going to be talking about your belief system and how your belief system actually affects what you're doing in your life and where you're going in your life and actually what you're creating around you in your life. So what is reprogramming? How do we reprogram? People get freaked out about this, so I'm going to clarify it. So reprogram could be anything from a simple meditation or visualization all the way to a psychosomatic emotional release, which is where you're actually experiencing a trauma again and your body's releasing it. Reprogramming it could be doing past life regressions. It could be going back into regressions of the earlier time in your life, inner child work. I do a lot of inner child work with people. People tend to store, I'm going to call it emotional baggage or emotional memories in different parts of their body. And so what we're doing is we're going into those different parts of your body and we're saying, hey, check it out. You have this pain point or that pain point. Let's see if we can get rid of it with an experience. So those of my friends who have done personal development, gratitude or TLC or Tony Robbins or any of that kind of stuff, what you're doing, you're having an actual visceral experience in your body when you're yelling at your mom and you're saying, I hate you, mom, or whatever is happening in whichever personal development course you're doing. You're having an actual experience that's reprogramming your mind. And how did your mind get programmed in the first place? Experiences. So how do we reprogram your mind? Experiences. And so how do we create new experiences for you really is the question. So what we do is we look at what's not working in your life right now. And sometimes people have trouble with that. They're like, my life is perfect, but they're overweight and they're not feeling their feelings and they're on many medications and they're drinking every afternoon and they're yelling at their kids and their spouse and they're not satisfied or happy in their job. And then you ask them, do you have a happy life? And they say, yeah, I have a happy life. And you say, no, you don't. Like, you're on medication and you're yelling at your family members and this isn't a happy life. So the first part is kind of waking up out of denial, and that's the first bucket. And so today we're going to talk about, okay, now I realize I have been living in denial. I don't like the way that my life works and is looking, and I wanted to start to change that. And so when I go to write these videos for you guys, I write them out first and then I end up putting them on my blog with the video. I actually ask my higher power, my inner wisdom that I call God, and that's actually what I'm doing as a coach, as a therapist. I'm actually, good morning, I'm actually helping you to get in touch with your higher power, with your inner guide. I actually did a little journaling last night where I said, God, what's the point of reading other people's books or listening to other people talk? And God was like, well, here's the deal. It's nonsense. Like, really, for you right now, it's nonsense for you to be listening to me But the reason that we do it is because we're seeking and we're searching and we haven't learned how to tap into our own inner wisdom yet. And I feel like that's my job here on earth, is to help you discover your inner power, your inner wisdom, your inner guide. And so at this point, the only way I can do that is for me to share my way of doing that with you, or to guide you in having these new experiences so that you can get tapped into that kind of thing. So as I'm writing this morning, I say to God, okay, God, what's the pain point around people's belief systems? And, here's the answer that I got. We believe things that aren't true. You, as human beings, believe that you're unworthy. You believe that you're small. You believe that you should be small. You believe that others don't want to see your full glory, right? How many of us are hiding our truth, hiding our amazing, beautifulness? Yes, to connect us with the source within. Yes, some people call it God. Some people call it your higher power. Some people call it your source within. Some people call it your inner wisdom, your inner guidance system. What does Napoleon Hill call it? Infinite intelligence. So all of these great teachers have different ways of explaining how to connect to that. And I have my way of doing it. And that's what these 10 work-life buckets are actually about. It's part of my coaching program and how I help people. So this is number 2, and this is looking at your beliefs. So God is saying to me, my God, my own personal inner wisdom, is saying to me this morning, how many of you, meaning us as people, are hiding your true self, hiding your greatness? What's it like to actually step out into the world and be your fully beautiful, expanded self? Not too many of us are doing that because there's insecurity around that. A lot of us were taught, don't be so big, don't be so bright, hold it all together, manage yourself, keep it small, have manners. There's all these rules, social rules about, like, you have to kind of be like this. And so we learn, well, crap, I got to be like that. And so this is where our beliefs are forming. So when we're children, we're like, hey, we're having a great time. This last weekend, I was at the beach, and this 9-year-old girl came up to me, and I started playing with her, and I let her tie her boogie board to mine, and I was teaching her how to jump in the waves, and we caught a bunch of waves together, and I was dragging her with me, and she was having so much fun. And she goes, you're the greatest. She goes, I want to be your best friends with you forever. You're my new best friend forever. And I thought, man, I wish adults still had that. I want to be your best friend forever. This is really how we connect to each other. And this is how we, can you guys still hear me? I just turned the thing off. Everybody can hear me, right? So, but I want to know, I want to be like that. She's being her fully expanded self. She wants to be best friends forever with somebody that she just met, who she's having fun with and she trusts. And, at what point do we shut that off? We try to be somebody that we think other people want us to be, instead of being our own true selves. And somewhere deep inside of you, that you want to be your own true, fully expanded self, right? Like, don't you know that? Don't you know that you want to be like that? There's a person inside of you that is more than who you're allowing yourself to be. This is why I named my business Beautifully Authentic. It's not because I want people to be beautiful. It's because your authentic self, your true self, when you're connected to your divinity, is really, really beautiful. And I want you to let that show and to let that shine. And with my other coaching clients that I've had in the past, as I tap them into that, as I help them get themselves tapped into that inner knowing and that inner wisdom, they start expanding and becoming this very, very beautiful human being. And like, it's just so amazing to me. So, but we hold ourselves so small, and we try to be something for someone else, and we're always trying to, like, get it right. Does anybody else do that? Like, I totally do that. I try to get it right. So living an authentic life, Dagmar. So when we talk about what is an authentic life, because people will say, oh, I'm sad today, and that's how I feel authentically, and so I should be allowed to pout around and be in a crappy, miserable mood. Okay, no, in my opinion, that's not an authentic life. That's you being out of alignment with your authentic self. And so I think some people think living authentically means I should express all of my feelings all of the time to any poor soul willing to listen to me. But I think my personal opinion of that is no, that's a victim stance. And what I would rather see people doing is saying, oh man, I'm feeling really sad today. And that's my true feeling. I feel sad today. Okay, but I know that my God self, I know my higher self, I know my authentic self doesn't feel sad. I didn't come here to earth to have a sad life. I came here to grab all of the glory and have an amazing life. And so if I'm sad, it actually just means that I'm out of alignment with what I'm supposed to really be doing here. My authentic purpose, my divine self, my fun self, my play self, my true self. And so sadness or anger or frustration or, in this example I'm going to use today, being overwhelmed or exhausted, that's an indication that you're actually not living your authentic self. Does that make sense? Did I clarify that well? So when I was asking, my higher self this morning, what's the pain point around belief systems? It's like instead of operating from our genuine truth and knowing, we're operating out of what someone else wants for us instead of what we want for us. And so many of us have forgotten our true selves and we operate for someone else, and we end up making our lives a mess. When we look around at ourselves, we're like, man, this is messy. And like I mentioned earlier, maybe you're out of weight, overweight, maybe you're out of shape, maybe you're overworked, you're underpaid, you're stressed out, you're yelling at your spouse, you're yelling at your kids, your relationships are not what you know they could be, right? And this is all your higher self knows okay, so I always say jealousy is one of the most beautiful emotions because it actually shows you who you're meant to be here as. It's not very good English, but it's like I see what you have and I know I want it because I know I'm capable of having it. And jealousy is just showing us that we could step up to that and actually have it if we stepped into who we truly are. So look around yourself, look around and say, is my health where I want it? Are my relationships where I want them? Is my life where I want it? Is my business where I want it? Am I being my authentic self? Or have I bought into some cultural regime or some belief system that my parents, my church, my teachers taught me was the right way to be? And am I operating out of a fear? Am I operating of not being good enough? Am I trying to shove down my own desires and my own feelings and my own knowing? And am I hiding all of that with maybe food, eating too much food, having addictions, sex addictions, too much spending, and all kinds of other messes, that we're creating in our life? That's an indicator that your belief system is not in alignment with your higher self. Am I making sense? Are you guys is this clear? I want it to be crystal, crystal clear. So your beliefs are creating your reality. So, and your beliefs may be different from who your true authentic self is. You have bought into someone else's belief system, and so then your life is not in alignment. And when you get your beliefs in alignment with who you were sent here to be, who the Creator created you to be, which may be a little bit different from who your parents thought you should be, or who your teachers thought you should be, or maybe even who your religion thought you should be. When you get in alignment with your higher self, with your God, then you're operating out of that belief system. You can be nothing but successful and abundant and healthy relationships. Like you're operating from a very different part of you than this crazy mental game that's trying to play by somebody else's rules. When you drop down inside of yourself into your higher self and your higher power, and you find that these belief systems aren't matching up with who I really am, that's how you create all the chaos in your life around you. Am I being clear? So here's a little, this is a tough pill for some people to swallow, right? To say, gosh, I look around my life and I don't have what I want. Holy crap, I did that. I created this. It's a hard pill for people to swallow. But once you realize, wow, if I created this, I can uncreate this. I can make it be whatever I want it to be. That's a really cool place to be. That's a lot of power to be in that place, to realize, okay, I created all of this. If I find out what my beliefs are that aren't in alignment with who my true self is, and I shift them, and I discover how I really want to be operating in the world. And then you start actually doing that. Everything changes and abundance starts coming to you in all ways and shapes and forms and sizes. But the first part is realizing I'm not in alignment with who I really want to be. Okay, so here is, so again, this morning I said, okay, God, like help me out. Give me a little story. I want a metaphor or something. And this was the answer. So my question was, what's a good metaphor for this situation that people live in, where they believe something that they're not, and they create results that they don't want? And so this is the metaphor that popped into my mind. Imagine walking through the desert and you're so thirsty and all you want is a cup of water, right? And so what do? What happens to people who are in the desert? You already know this. You've heard these stories. People will create a mirage and they'll see water or they'll see a little puddle, right? And they'll start walking towards the water because they believe that it's true. So are you with me? So we believe that this thing out there is going to bring us happiness. It's going to bring us fulfillment. It's going to quench our thirst. And so we start walking towards this mirage, which is somebody else's belief for us. And we think that we're going to get quenched and fulfilled and happy when we get there, but really it's a mirage. What's a mirage, right? A mirage does not exist. It's actually not a real thing. You think it's true and you think it's real, so you walk towards it, but it's really just a trick of your mind. And too many people are in the desert walking, tired and thirsty, looking for and walking towards a mirage that isn't there. Yet we've convinced ourselves that it is there, right? We are walking towards it because we think it's going to save us, right? Like this is what the ego mind does. The ego mind says, there's something out there for you that's going to make you happy. There's water over there and you're thirsty and tired. So walk towards that water and you'll be good. And we create this image in our mind. And this is how we get into denial. We think that we're going towards something great, right? That fancy car or that big house. That's what's going to bring me happiness. And if I walk towards it, it's going to save me from this feeling of not following my purpose, not following my goals, not being who I really am here to be. If I have a beautiful wife or if I have a great husband and I have 2.5 kids with a dog and a white picket fence, then I will have achieved success. And it won't matter that I'm not living my purpose and that I'm not living my calling and my dream, because their success and their happiness is more important than mine. My family's happiness is the only happiness that matters. This is like walking towards a mirage in the desert when you're thirsty. This is not going to bring you fulfillment. It's not going to bring you quenched thirst. You're walking towards something that isn't going to give you what you want. It's never going to bring you satiation. You will always keep walking tired and thirsty and wondering why you're unfulfilled. I got questions. It's like you're looking for a magical button. What do you think? Saying what you think is authentic. I'm just honest. It's who I am. Right. Okay, so that's back a little further. To suddenly be rich, young, successful, sexy. Exactly. And so that's what the mirage is. It's looking for a magical button. It's thinking that there's, I have people who start coaching with me and they're literally thinking this. They're thinking, if I stay in this crappy job and I make enough money, I can provide for my family. And then my family will be happy. And then my family will be like, Heather, you're the greatest. We love you so much. Wrong. Who's living that and knows that that's wrong? It doesn't work like that. You cannot create happiness for someone else. You can't do it because that's not what they want. The only way you can create happiness for someone else is if you learn how to do what I'm doing and you learn how to see other people's greatness inside of them and you pull it out of them and you say, look, this is your greatness, live into it. That's the only way you're going to make other people happy, because I can't possibly ever do anything with my life to make you happy. It's impossible. You're here to make you happy in your life. And if you have kids and you want them to be happy, the greatest thing you can do is look at them and with the eyes of God. What did the creator create these people to be here for? That's what I do when I'm coaching with you. What did your creator create you for? And I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to show it to you until you can't help but see it and live into it. Because as long as you're thinking that you need to be someone else for someone else, you are not going to be happy. I promise you. I know that because I did it for very, very, very many years. And I still have little pieces. There's still a couple pieces of my life. It's so funny. You've got this whole, work-life balance. You've got relationships, you got family, you've got health, you've got wellness, you got spirituality, you got business, you got money, right? I have all of these domains that are so wonderful and balanced, yet I got this one little domain that's still, but that's great because if it was all perfect, y'all, I wouldn't be here, right? I'd be back with the creator. I'd get to do this whole thing over again as another human being. So this is my chance as Heather, to solve these problems. And that's what you're here for too. Like, you get to look around and say, man, this is the stuff that's out of alignment. Do I really want to get to my full expanded self in this lifetime? Do I want to be, pleasing to God, or whatever that means for you? For me, pleasing to God means coming fully into alignment with myself and being bright enough light to show other people how to do that. That's my stuff. So here's the thing, if you're looking around you right now and you realize that you're living in the desert and that you're walking towards a mirage and you realize that you're scared to do it any other way, right? Because it can really be scary. I know, I have been there. Now's the time to get on the phone with me and discover if it's time for you to start your inward journey, right? We're never going to find what we want out there in the mirage. It is what's happening inside of us. It's the belief that there's a mirage. We have to instead go, oh my God, I'm in the desert and I'm thirsty and tired and there's no water over there. I'm not going to find it over there. I have to come to grips with the fact that I'm walking through the desert. And that's usually the hardest part. Then once you realize you're in the desert, you find a guide, somebody like me, who says, hey, I know where the water hole is. Let's go. And then you get to be the one who decides if you want to drink out of the water hole, right? Because I'm not going to make you walk in a specific direction, because there's no right direction. I don't know what your right direction is. Only you know what your right direction is. I'm just leading the horse to water. It's up to you if you want to drink it. So instead of drinking other people's dreams and creating happiness for others, instead of living your full potential, that's what I want you to be doing. I want you to be living your full potential. And if you're tired of walking in your own shoes, right, and you realize that what you're aiming for isn't your fulfillment, and you're actually taking from your family. When you're working a crappy job that you hate and you're exhausted and tired and overworked and bringing home enough money to make them happy, you're taking from them. Because who they need you to be is who you were sent here to be. That's the reason that they're your little people. That's the reason that they're your spouse. They need you to be in your full glory just as badly as you do. They don't need to be with an overwhelmed, stressed out person who's believing something that's not a true, what you truly believe inside of yourself. Am I making sense, y'all? This is important to me. We're promised this. We earn to be happy. Right, exactly. It is a promise. That's what I'm talking about right now. That is exactly what I'm talking about. We believe in our culture that if we earn enough money, or we have enough success, or we achieve enough, right? This is a belief. This is a cultural belief. And we buy into this belief. And then we make ourselves miserable and we live miserable lives. How many people are like, oh crap, I've done that. I have bought into the belief system that a spouse and 2.5 kids and a dog and a white picket fence and a fancy house and a fancy car is what's going to make all of us happy. Our family will be happy when we have all of this. Raise your hand if you believe in that, and then I want you to tap into your inner self and say, is that true for me? Is it true for me that if I work myself into the ground, that's what's going to make my family happy? I don't know about you, but it's not what's true for me. It's not. And so you may have to eat dirt for a little while, like if you have a family to support and you want to get on another track, if you're over here, I don't know, doing some job you hate, when, like let's say you're a landscaper, but you hate being outside, and really what you want to be is an internet marketer, you might have to have those few years in between where you have to really buckle down and have a job you don't like so that you can learn how to have something you do love and you are passionate about. I'm not saying, hey, everybody just quit your job right now and go live your dream. I don't think that's necessarily smart. Like, I think you got to have a plan. And, I saw a Facebook post today that said something like, if you want to move a mountain, you got to move it stone by stone. You can't just pick up a whole mountain. But do you have a plan do you even know what this is? Do you know what a fulfilling life looks like? And are you living over here in a very unfulfilling, stressed out, overwhelmed, place where you don't like your work, you don't like how you're being with your family, and you want to be over here where you're like, man, I'm living in my purpose, I'm living in my dreams, I'm living my passion, I have a great family life, I am healthy. Okay, cool. You got to pick up the little stones to move the mountain over here, right? And it's deliberate, and that's what we have coaches for, right? Because maybe you don't even realize you want to be here. Maybe you're over here just going, man, I'm miserable. How do you even get here, right? You hire somebody to help you. I have hired so many people to help me get over here. And it works, that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other. You find somebody who can see your greatness, pull it out of you and say, look, here it is, and then actually help you get there. So anyway, look around you. Are you here or are you here? If you're here and you want to get here, call me, message me. Let's have a conversation at least anyway. But I mean, I at least would like to have a conversation with you to see where this is. That's what my breakthrough conversations are. What is this? You want to do it? You want to come over here? And then do you want me to be the one who leads you, or do you want somebody else? I mean, I'm not attached to that. If you want it to be me, great. I'm excited. I want to work with you. I want to bring you here. This is what my purpose is bringing people here. So, if that's for you, if that's what you want to be doing, let's get on the phone. Call me. Let's see, what else? Let's see, Dagmar, what are you saying? I'm happy when I can rescue a butterfly or a kitty and society thinks I'm crazy. It helps me to be coached by you to feel good about who I am. That's awesome. But exactly. And maybe, it's funny, Dagmar, it's like, what you were saying to me recently. Dagmar was saying, I keep imagining that I own or I am an animal sanctuary. I keep imagining this. And she's like, the manifestation is coming way faster than I expected it to, because now she's like rescuing all these animals, like actually in her home. And so she was teasing, she's like, now I am the animal sanctuary. But that's what brings fulfillment to her. And even though everybody else may think that that's crazy because it doesn't fit into the belief of, you're supposed to be this and you're supposed to do that. Too bad that that's what they think. Too bad if they think she's crazy. She's creating happiness and fulfillment, and she's doing what God created her. God, her higher power, created her. She's a part of the whole, and now she's in alignment doing what she wants to do with herself, and it feels good to her, and it makes her feel happy, and it makes her feel fulfilled. And so also she's doing SEO work, and she's helping people to grow their businesses. So she's taking people from here to over here, and they've got these little businesses and they want to have these big businesses, and she helps them move the rocks to have big mountains. And in the meanwhile, it's the same thing. She's watching animals who are being hurt or abused or neglected or whatever, and she's rescuing them, and it's one at a time, right? And this is what brings us fulfillment and happiness, is you got to know what this is, and then you got to take little steps to move towards that. And that's, Dagmar helps me to do that in my business. I help you to do that in your life. She helps animals to do that, right? We all have a purpose. Are we living it? Are you necessarily making tons of money from it? Maybe not at the beginning. But could you make tons of money from it? Absolutely, because now you're vibrating in abundance. And when you vibrate in abundance, you can't have anything but abundance come back to you. Remember I said to you one time, I want to be happy, and you asked me what makes me happy. I responded, my cats, and you said, so are you happy? Right. And so it's like having this realization, right? I'm in the desert. I'm thirsty. I'm looking over there for water. I think I see water. I'm going to keep walking towards it, but it's not actually water. It's not actually making you happy. When all you have to do is go, hey, what makes you happy? Well, my cats make you happy. Well, do you have cats? Yeah, I have 6 of them in my house. Well, is there a possibility that every day you're being made happy because you have an opportunity that one of 6 cats in any moment is doing something that makes you happy? And it's like, oh my God, I have happiness right here, right now. I don't have to go looking anywhere else. It's actually in my house, right? And it's just little tweaks of the mind, little tiny tweaks of the belief system, little teeny tiny tweaks of the belief system. So, this is an indicator of your inner world, your inner belief system, and how it's manifesting in the outer world. And if you believe you're walking towards water, even though it may in actuality just be a mirage, you're going to keep walking that way if you believe that that's true. So I want you to wake up. My job is to go, wake up. The mirage isn't real. It's not going to bring you satisfaction. It's not going to make you happy. And, you have to actually wake up and look around you and see what's there and ask yourself, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? And if the answer is no, ask yourself right now, is it time for me to do something about it? Is it time if I am not happy and I'm not getting what I know I want, and I'm looking at others and I'm being jealous and I'm going, man, I want that. And if I want that, I'm jealous, it means I can actually get it. If you don't have the life you want and you're looking at others and you're going, I want that, you can have it. It can be yours. So now you have to ask yourself the question, are you willing to get it? If the answer is yes, give me a call. If you are ready to do something about it, give me a call. Wouldn't you like to change your belief system about your world so you can actually change it to be a world that you enjoy being in, right? And can you imagine all it is a mindset shift? All it is a belief shift. You may not actually have to change anything externally at all. You might not need a new husband. You might not need a new boss. You might not need a new job. It might be a mindset shift. You might be thinking, oh, I need all of this stuff, and so I need to make more money to have all this stuff. But really, you make plenty of money to have the stuff that you internally need to make you happy. Like for Dagmar, she needs cat food. That's it. She needs enough money to pay for her where she lives, to pay for her cat food and her own food, and she's happy. She's happy, with butterflies and cats and rescuing animals. That's it. That's what she needs money. She doesn't need a big, huge house and a big fancy car and this and that and all this stuff to make her happy. She has discovered what makes her happy. You just do that every day and you actually live a happy life. Can you guys see how simple it is? Just a little mindset tweak. So get out of the desert, stop walking towards your mirage. If you're ready to start drinking water, feel it, refreshed, invigorated, and alive, then call me or message me right now. You can even put it in the comments if you want right now. Heather, I am ready. I'm looking around myself and I'm saying, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not who I want to be. This isn't the life that I want to create. Call me. Okay, let me help you create the one that you do want to create, because I've done it time and time again with client after client, and it's not hard, but it's also not easy. So changing the way that you think and believe isn't hard, right? It makes a lot of sense to look at yourself and say, I'm not happy, I want something else. And to go, well, what I want is this. But it is hard, to put that into practice because it's new and our ego is clinging to what we think we know is right? And if you cling to what you think is right, more than often you will be miserable. It's like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Well, the ego wants to be right because it thinks that it's learned some really smart stuff to keep you safe along the way, but it's actually not working. If you look at your life, you'll see it's actually not working. And so if you're exhausted and you're thirsty in the desert and you've been there too long, you know that it's more than worth it, and you're ready for it, then call me now. Okay? So this is work-life balance number 2 bucket. This is about changing our beliefs. It's 1 in 10 pieces of what I work on with my clients. You can probably already see that if you just have a mindset shift, your whole world will open up and everything will change. This is 1 piece of 10 pieces that shift everything. So you can imagine if you did all 10, that you may actually have a very different life, right? That's what I've experienced time and time and time again. You help me feel good about following my purpose. Oh, that's awesome. So I'm so happy that I've been able to help you, and thank you for being here with me this morning so that we can show other people, um, that this actually really works, that you're a testimony to, um, doing this work. And really, that's all you got to do is you got to do the work. And if all of this I'm offering to everyone all over the place. I mean, I'm all over social media. If you want to learn this stuff, you got the 12 days of loving yourself on YouTube. I'm putting all these work-life balance buckets on YouTube. The 12 days of loving yourself, I'm pretty sure on the Beautifully Authentic YouTube channel. The 10 work-life buckets are on the Heather Hundhausen YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. You can be part of the Beautifully Authentic Facebook group, where sometimes I'll do, what do you call those? Like challenges, like loving yourself challenges or self-care challenges. So a lot of the stuff that I do, you can get from me for free. I'm willing to do a breakthrough session on the phone with you for free. I really want you to be living in your purpose. I really want you to be happy. I really want you to have success. I really want you to be in alignment, because when you're in alignment, it actually creates peace on the planet. It puts us all in alignment, and you actually benefit me and everyone else around you. So look for it if you're in a place where you're like, man, I can't afford to do this right now, or if you're in a place where you're like, I can't afford to not do this right now. I can't afford to live like this for another moment. It's time to get some coaching. Um, so get on the phone with me. We'll see if it's a good fit. If it's not, I know tons of other people that I would love to refer you to. I got this huge, amazing, wonderful network of people. I want us all to be living in our divine purpose. There's abundance for everybody. There's more than enough for everybody and everything. So I love you guys. Thanks for being here with me today. If this made a lot of sense for you, and you may know somebody who's, in the desert and they're looking at a mirage, and you can see them and you're like, oh God, they're in denial. And I don't want my loved one to be in denial anymore. Just forward this video to them, and hopefully it will help to bring them a little bit out of denial. I really want the planet to be in balance. And that's why I call this work-life balance, because balance is something that happens internally. It's not something that you can get out there. It's not from checking off a to-do list. It's something that happens in every moment. It's when you're aligned with your higher self and you're doing what feels good for you. That's actually what creates peace and balance. And so can you imagine if everyone in the world did that? How exciting would that be? We would live in a really cool, really, really cool place, if everyone was living in alignment with their true selves and being an offering and giving. There would be so much giving and receiving going on. I imagine the world could be a really fantastic place if we're all doing that. So if you're in agreement with me, share this with your friends and your family. Subscribe to my videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You can also follow me on Facebook on Monday mornings. So love you guys. Bye.